Can you make music with Linux? Let's find out. Linux is somewhat limited in terms of music making, because many major plugins and synthesizers do not support Linux natively. You're also limited by the choice of digital audio workstations, or DAWs. A couple of freebies exist on Linux. These are LMMS, which is completely free to use and is open source, and then there is Reaper, which is free but only if you wish to not pay or support the developers. Users who use Reaper in business environments or those who use it frequently are encouraged by the team of developers to purchase a license for Reaper, and then there are others such as Ada, which is more like a mixer than a DAW, but it is still considered a DAW by many music producers and enthusiasts. Ada is completely free and is open source. And then there is Bitwig Studio, which is also a proprietary application that costs money, but is available for Linux. So the choice of DAWs has grown a bit over the years, but none of the freebies can offer the same level of functionality or features as premium products such as FL Studio, Ableton, Logic, etc. So when it comes to using a DAW to make the music, you are somewhat limited on Linux. But I tell you what, LMMS is perfect for beginners and noobs, and Reaper offers some slightly better features and more functionality compared to LMMS, so if you're willing to use a free and open source digital audio workstation, DAW, then either of these is perfect. What really limits you is the native plugins and other tools to enhance your music's quality. Things such as synthesizers and free effects really enhance the music and make it sound more professional. But unfortunately for the Linux users, there is nowhere near as many plugins, including synthesizers, which are as decent as what we see on Windows or Mac OS. The level of support is just not there, and while a free synthesizer such as Vital can be used on a Linux system, it does not integrate well with it like it does a Windows system. Windows and Mac are the music-making operating systems. Linux simply is not cut out for making music. So that also means that BSD, Chrome OS, and other Unix-like systems also don't do too well when it comes to making music. You can do it, but you will be very limited, and the stock standard synthesizers of any DAW is always going to sound more basic and primitive than a professional product such as Massive or Serum, two very popular synthesizers used in electronic music production, ranging from dubstep to drum and bass, to house, trance, techno, and other electronic music. So, can you make music on Linux? It certainly is possible, but you will not be able to create any professional sounding music if all you're using is the stock standard stuff that comes with the DAW you're using. You can bang out some nice little tunes, and make video game music, but you're limited, extremely limited. So if you are considering Linux as an alternative OS but you're a music maker or want to make music on Linux, please carefully consider your options. You may want to look at using Linux on a non-mission critical system, so keep Windows on your music making PC or laptop, and put Linux on some cheap but functional hardware. This also avoids the necessity to run Windows inside of Linux via a virtual machine, which will heavily slow down the OS and any programs running inside it, because the OS itself is running through a layer, and this is not an efficient or effective way to run software in a Linux system. Emulation is generally better on Linux, but that's besides the point. It's not cut out for many tasks that Windows and Mac OS are cut out for, and music making just so happens to be another thing Linux cannot accomplish, or it can only do basic music production. If you're happy making basic music, then Linux should be okay, but if you need nice things like a decent synthesizer, plugins, a feature-rich digital audio workstation, and all the rest of it, then Linux is not the OS to go to. Use a Windows or Mac-based system to do professional tasks such as music making, especially if you're using it to produce music for the industry. Windows and Mac are the industry standard, Linux is not, at least in the desktop market. So many popular programs and apps will not support Linux, never, because it has too small a market share for them to make it worthwhile making their software for Linux. There is not enough demand for fancy synthesizers and DAWs on Linux. and the developers wouldn't make it for Linux even if the people on Linux were crying out to them, unless they could justify making their product available for Linux. Remember, this costs a heap of money, and businesses are always trying to spend as little as possible on their products. Making a product available to a niche market of users is generally not considered by most big-name software vendors such as Adobe, Microsoft, Valve, etc. The exact same thing applies in the music industry. The only people who use Linux are tinkerers, tech enthusiasts, coders and developers, and those seeking a free and open-source operating system, because they hate Microsoft turning Windows into a garbage disposal service. We all know the Windows as a service thingy, which really holds true nowadays. So many want to gain control back over their computers. They want to have freedom, liberty, privacy, and choice. And the best part is, Linux don't cost a single cent to use. Got an old PC or laptop laying around? Freely repurpose that machine with something like Linux Mint, and you'll be on your merry way. Plus, a bunch of the free software is amazingly good. LibreOffice has become as good, if not better than Microsoft Office. GIMP has become as good, if not better than Adobe Photoshop, and many other popular free apps and programs that have sprung into existence have tried to bundle in as much as possible to offer the less fortunate a decent experience, and Linux is no different. It's just a free OS that costs no money and is open to modify, redistribute, etc. So if you're tech savvy and you got some coding skills, you could dig deeper into Linux and modify the kernel, and do deep level things like that. Alrighty, that's it for this video folks. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next video. Bye for now.